Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mehwish Khan and I am CEO and founder of HR Upscale. So in today's session, we will be talking about how to prepare for a job interview. So there are different types of interviews, and depending on the role in the organization, there might be a difference in terms of the stages you have to go through in the interview process, but it depends purely on the organization and how they really want to evaluate the individual, if they are the right fit for the organization or not. So you just need to be aware of this fact and as well as what is the requirement of that organization. So first kind of interview is telephonic interview or maybe an online interview through which the organization can have a face-to-face interaction, and this is basically the first stage in which the employer wants to have an interaction with the candidate and judge through facial expressions or maybe just basic information they can get out of you. So from that perspective, I think you should be prepared in terms of the space you will be using for the interview. It should be quiet without any noise, background noise, and then also make sure that there is no technical issue in the end. So if they have arranged through Microsoft Teams, so it should be installed, you should be aware of it, how to use it. If they are doing through Zoom, you should know how to use the Zoom, and your internet connection should be fair enough. And then obviously you should be there online at least 10 minutes before or 5 minutes before the interview. So these basic, very small things, but it matters a lot. In the end, if you are not there on time, your first stage is already ruined, so you will not be able to impress the employer at that time, and they might think that you are not critical about such small things which are very important. So telephonic interviews or online interviews are the first kind. Another way of interview is an informal interview, or you can say chat with the candidate. So we should not be misled by the word informal, because the purpose of this kind of interview is just to have an interaction with the candidate face to face. There is no structured list of questions that are asked by the recruiter or the HR. It's just a random check that whether the personality of that person is the right fit or for the culture of the organization, whether they should move ahead with a more structured or formal way of interview with that person or not. So it is again maybe in certain scenario the first stage again for the organization to judge the person. So be prepared and don't take it lightly. So you should be able to sell your experience and skill during that time. Even if you are fresh, as I mentioned earlier, you should know what you need to say and be passionate about the job you are applying for. Third and very important kind of interview is formal interview, where usually there is more than one person sitting in the room, 1, 2, whatever is the number for the organization. So they are more structured, time is slotted, you are invited. They use a list of questions which are already there. They record whatever you are saying in the questionnaire, and they normally ask you more questions related to those areas, and try to get whatever they can and record it. So again, you have to be prepared for certain kind of situations, how to handle questions from different personalities and sitting in the same room and tell them what exactly needs to be. Formal interviews can last for 30 to 90 minutes or whatever, this depends on the organization. So there is a time limit, there are structured questions, so you need to prepare for that. I'm sure if you know which organization you are applying, so you will get an idea what kind of interviews they do with the rest of the people who are applying there. So group interviews is another form of interviews which can be part of an assessment center interviews, or people are put together under certain scenarios and then you are actually working on certain activities, and you are judged depending on the skills they are judging at, like team building skill, leadership, or maybe any other soft skills which they want to observe. So be prepared for that. You will be working in a group with the competitors who are also applying for the same position. So these are normally very structured, maybe more than one day. Activities are planned by the organization, and you work in groups, and then you show whatever skills you have at each and every step of those activities planned for you. So again, be prepared, and a little homework in terms of knowing how things work will help you to be prepared to work in certain groups. I'm sure in universities and colleges such opportunities are given where you work in groups, so that experience can help you in this scenario. Moving forward, there are also interview tests organized by the organization, which can be related to your aptitude or maybe personality traits or work related skills. So aptitude tests are normally computer based. They are used for your numerical and verbal reasoning, and they are basically scenarios given to you which you need to evaluate and give your answers. So they will judge whether you fit for the organization or not, you're right fit for the culture or not. So another way is the personality test, through which are normally the multiple questions answers are given, and you need to select one. There is no right or wrong answer, but it just gives the idea about your personality, and then they need to see whether that personality will be again a right fit or not. Work-based test can be conducted where for example a salesperson, they will judge give him a scenario, and then they perform how they will be dealing with the customer, and then the people sitting in the room might be judging that act. So it depends on the organization. You just need to be prepared because obviously you will know that what kind of test will be conducted. So just get more information on it and practice through online and free platforms to polish your skills. Okay, now let's talk about how to prepare yourself for the interview. So first, you really need to confirm back to the organization that you will be appearing for the interview. Either you give them a call or email, so make sure they are informed. Secondly, you need to research about the organization. So get more information through online resources, their website, social media, anybody in your contact who has already worked in their organization or is working. Get information about the organization and the job so that you are mentally prepared for the interview. Next, you really have to have an idea about the location where you have to travel. If you're going there for the first time, it's better to have a trip there and judge the travel time, so that you will not be late for the interview. Also, you should keep a contact number in your phone. In case you get delayed, you can inform them. You should be rightly and formally dressed, even if the position is very technical and it doesn't require you to be having a very formal attire, but it's better for the first interview that you should be formally dressed, nice, clean, ironed clothes, and no fancy stuff. Prepare your look according to the culture of the culture of the organization. So these things really matter, that how you prepare yourself for the interview. If you are not prepared and you just randomly visit that place for the interview, then you will not be able to succeed. So if you do such things, you are actually giving your best in terms of efforts. Okay, now what happens when you actually go for the interview? So just remember that you have to be on time, don't be late, okay, and you have to speak very clearly, You should carry a very positive attitude and a personality when you enter. Use the word of please and thank you when you are meeting the individuals or the recruiter. And during this session, just be yourself. You don't have to use fancy words or languages. Try to be clear in whatever you are explaining. Make sure you are able to explain well about your experience or education or whatever you have done, and try to make sure that you give a very positive image of your personality, because they are judging your communication skills, your personality traits, and what actually are your work ethics. So you need to be very careful in order to present it rightly. Another important thing is that what kind of questions they might ask. So very pet kind of interview questions are about yourself. So if they ask about yourself, take this opportunity and explain it well. Don't be very short, don't be too lengthy. Do practice at home about this question, so you can actually use that time to explain them about yourself, your key skills, what you have done, any awards or certificates you have achieved. And they might ask you about the company you are applying for, so you should have done your research so that you can tell them yes, I know about the company and all that. Another question can be about your strengths and weaknesses, so you should be again prepared for that kind of question. Give examples when you are explaining your strength and weaknesses, and convert your weakness into something you can work on, and it can be converted into a strength. So think about it before going for an interview. And always be sure that if there is something you need to ask the employer, do ask during the session, or maybe in the end if you have any questions. That gives an impression to the recruiter that you have the ability to question and you have the ability to analyze the situation. So question them if you have anything in mind. And while you are concluding the interview, don't forget to thank them for the opportunity. Even if you are not selected, you should be very kind in terms of saying that you got the opportunity to at least meet them. So say proper thank you. And I hope these kind of small things will actually help you to prepare for the interview. You can never be sure about everything, but at least you can prepare for something. So this was our second last episode. Take advantage of these tips. Do a little more research. A lot of material is available online, and I'm sure you will be able to prepare for your first interview. So best of luck, and see you in the next episode. Thank you.